just don't understand why. Hello and welcome to FTTR. I am Hugh McQuaid, and today we are talking about, you know what we're talking about. Is there anything else to talk about today? We're talking about the AEW All-In footage, the reaction, and my overall thoughts. You can probably guess my tone from the title of this video if you've clicked on it. Thank you very much. I do more upbeat videos than this, but I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. And before we dive into that, please subscribe, please like this video, please comment your thoughts down below on this. I did a video yesterday saying why this was a bad idea, and my thoughts have only come true and been more accepted, and I feel strongly about that video that I was right. And yeah, so last night on Dynamite, Tony Khan / the Young Bucks made the decision to air the AEW All-In brawl footage from All-In between CM Punk and Jack Perry, and you've all probably seen it by now. You may have watched Dynamite, you may not have. This was, I think, off the top of my head, one of the worst decisions in wrestling that I've watched since I became a fan. Easily the worst decision in AEW history. This just solved nothing. If anything, it's created more problems, more issues, more toxicity in the fandom, more tribalism, everything. And I don't want it to be like that. I don't want to be talking negative about AEW because, to be honest, AEW is probably the reason that I'm here right now, talking in front of a camera, being a wrestling fan. You know, I got into wrestling properly sort of back in 2017, mainly because of the What Culture guys. And the WWE product at the time was awful. It was terrible. And AEW was what really got me back into wrestling, watching Dynamite week to week to week to week to week. It was quality. And I know people are going to say it's not. Everyone's got their tastes. But for me, as you can see, it was quality. I loved it. And then All In happened. All In, one of the most personal and experiential experiences I've had as a wrestling fan. All In, I absolutely loved it. Going down to London for 4 days with my partner, it was magic. Absolute magic. And I loved it. First stadium wrestling show in the UK. We all loved it. And it was tainted by this. It was tainted by the brawl that happened, because now I won't be able to rewatch that CM Punk match without knowing that he got in some fisticuffs with Jack Perry and it's caused all this nonsense. You know? That sucks. That really sucks. And what I wanted to get across in this video is just, what did this achieve? Like, if they get a mega rating, that's cool. What? 1 week? And then what? We're going to release footage of Brawl Out to pop another rating. We're going to release footage of, what, Andrade and Sammy Guevara seemingly getting into it. It doesn't achieve anything at all, other than a petty little comeback. And I think this has shown. I think the backlash has been ridiculous to this. Probably more so than I thought. I've seen a lot of backlash about this. I've watched Wrestle Talk's video. I've watched, the Cultaholic guys, the What Culture guys talk about this as well, because I like to stay in tune with the wrestling hemisphere, because that's what I want to do. I want to be a wrestling person. And when stuff like this happens, when something that I truly, truly love with all my heart does something that's so incomprehensibly bad, I've just got to sit back and question what on earth happened. Because even with like my favourite TV shows that, you know, fell off a cliff, which I can't think of that many. I think the only ones I can think of are like, obviously, I'm a massive Doctor Who fan, and the Jodie era, later Peter Capaldi era, they weren't great, but never such a sudden drop, I don't think. Such a sudden, sheer, we've driven off a cliff kind of drop. That's what I felt with this. Because even when I was watching WWE, sort of in 2017, that was just bad, you know? Week to week it was bad. But AEW's been great, especially this year. Like, it's been really, really good. Will Ospreay's my favourite wrestler in the world. Samoa Joe, I think, is a great champ. Swerve's great. Tony Storm, Deonna Purrazzo, Mercedes Moné, Kazuchika Okada. They're doing great stuff. But this has just completely destroyed a lot of the sort of credibility and vibe that I had. I'm just sort of left. What I think is detrimental about this is that this has not got me excited for Dynasty, and we're getting FTR versus the Young Bucks 4. How has that happened? It's happened because of spite and bitterness. And like, I didn't want to sound all preachy and hippie and whatever you want to call it, woke if you really have to. Like, can't we all just get along? Is it that hard? Do we really need to take these pot shots back and forth at each other? Like, sure, the occasional jab, that's fine. But going out of your way to dedicate, it was like 10 minutes in total. The footage itself was like 30 seconds. But dedicating like a 10-minute segment just to bury someone who works for another company, I just don't care for it. And I want AEW to get back to what it was, which was great wrestling and great stories. Is that so much to ask? Is that really so much to ask? With the talent that's on the roster, like, they should be putting on incredible show after incredible show after incredible show. And they were. I think Dynamite, sort of, when was it? Around when Ospreay and Okada came in, was hot. It was so good. Great matches, great characters, great swerve. Not literally swerve, but great swerve with Okada, and a great swerve Strickland. But this was like just chaotic and bad, and it's one of them things that I'm wrestling with getting past. This will always be a blemish on the record of AEW, because it didn't need to happen. We didn't need to see this footage. We all wanted to let it be. It's just there now. It's there. And I'm praying to God, right, that we never have to hear about this again. That the Young Bucks and FTR never bring this up in their feud again. I hope that the reaction to this gets through to Tony Khan, and he understands that taking cheap shots like this out of pettiness is not going to get you anywhere. If anything, it's going to cement the ideas that people already have against you and your promotion. And you don't want that. You want to be getting new fans. There was no way, and I said this in the other video, there was no way you are making new fans off this. At all. Like, no way at all are you making new fans off releasing this video. I'm not even going to comment on the content of this video. Like, that's a completely different subject, talking about that. But just talking about the release of it, what was the point? No new audience is going to grow from this. If anything, you're going to lose audiences. And everyone that I saw on social media, I don't think I saw one person say that this was a good idea. I didn't see a single person say this was a good idea. And that worries me because it still happened. And what are we going to get next? I'm hoping to God that this is just a stopgap and we're not going to get anything like this again. And that's the other thing that I want to talk about. Like, in terms of like insane decisions that they're doing, I think I get the fortune of talking about this because this is 26 here in the UK, and it's just been announced on the same roughly the same day that AEW have done this. They've announced their pay-per-view schedule. Like, surely, why would you do that on the same day that you're getting all this backlash? You announce your pay-per-view schedule. Like, I get trying to draw the heat away from that, but that could have been a pretty big announcement, you know? The entire pay-per-view lineup and the entire locations just dropping on a day when everyone's just shitting on AEW. Like, that's a silly decision, in my opinion. Not when you could have... You dedicated TV time to a petty personal vendetta against CM Punk, but you can't dedicate TV time to announcing your pay-per-view schedule, which is it is more important than the footage. And I'm not here for it. I feel so deflated and just like what are we doing? What are we doing? And I don't want to be feeling that way because, like I said, Will Ospreay is my favourite wrestler. I love Okada. I love Kenny Omega. I love the Elite, Hangman, Swerve, Samoa Joe, Moxley, Danielson, everything. That's just the blokes. Tag teams. I like Best Friends, even though they're not best friends anymore. I love Ricky Starks and Big Bill, even though they might not be a team anymore. House of Black. Cool. FTR. Cool. Women's Division. Toni Storm, Deonna Purrazzo, Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter. They've got a lot of talent. They've got so much talent. And to see petulant decisions like this being made, just, it doesn't sit right with me. It doesn't sit right with me. And I think that there were some things that I've been questioning. Like, they didn't really promote Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor that was going down. And yeah, no one's going to be talking about your pay-per-view schedule. People are going to be talking about the CM Punk thing. So I think it was a terrible decision, an absolute dumpster fire, train wreck, and one that I sincerely hope that this is resolved and this is fixed and next week's Dynamite is fantastic and brilliant and gets people back on board, because I don't want to live in a world without AEW, because let's be honest, if everyone was talking about WWE, it would be very boring talking about the same thing over and over again. It'd be very boring. I don't think that's a world anyone wants to live in. I like the discourse, I like the chat, I like all of the above. So yeah, this is like a low point, and it shows because it's raining outside. I can see it out my window. It's starting to rain. I'm conjuring the dark vibes. I don't want the dark vibes. So overall, if you've watched to the end, props to you for powering through my, like, whatever you want to call it, crisis of confidence and strange little rant that I'm having. But yeah, if you've managed to sit through 10 minutes of an AEW fan being not angry, just disappointed, please subscribe and then send help. But no, in all seriousness, you know, wrestling is the best it's been. It's incredible right now. Like, whichever promotion you choose, WWE, AEW, New Japan, Ring of Honor, TNA, Progress, Rev Pro, GCW, all of the above. Wrestling is great right now, and this blemish should hopefully go. I don't want to be talking about All In ever again. Not All In the show. I don't want to be talking about Brawl In ever again. I never want to talk about Brawl Out again. I do not want to say the phrase CM Punk in the same sentence as AEW. I never want to do it again. I've had enough for my lifetime of talking about CM Punk and AEW, and I never want to do it again. So drawing a line under that. What next? They just need to cook. The talent's there. Dynasty, I think, is going to be a great show. And we'll see where we go from there. And that's that. If you've managed to watch this, props to you. But I want to know your guys' thoughts down in the comments below. Do you think this was good? Do you think this was bad? You probably think it's bad. Let me know and I'll try and reply to every single one of them. Thank you all ever so much for your support. And have a nice day.